So to start things off, I want to say that all three weapons feel real good, and they are absolutely solid additions to the game. One in particular is definitely standing out. I'll get to that later. But getting back on the feeling good part, this to me is what made me fall in love with the finals gunplay in the first place. It was not so much about the weapon doing a lot of damage or having the lowest TTK, but rather whether or not a weapon feels good or satisfying when used, which plays a much bigger role, and this is perfectly illustrated in the video ABOPS just released, which is going to be more and more relevant when more and more weapons become irrelevant, especially with the addition of scopes. Now, I'm certainly not saying it's a bad thing that they were added. When direct competitors to these potentially irrelevant weapons are excelling in multiple areas, it will soon make said weapon become irrelevant. So please watch the video, I highly recommend it. He obviously put a lot of work into it and doesn't get nearly enough recognition. Now, with that being said, the new weapons are a fantastic step in the right direction. When Season 4 releases and the player base starts using them, allowing the devs to gather the data that they need and how they compare to current weapons, I'm sure they'll adjust the potency of these weapons to fit more in line with the rest. Hopefully though, they will find a way without affecting the feel of the weapon, because in that department they nailed it. They absolutely nailed it. Now, let me give you my first impressions for the 3 brand new weapons in Season 4. Also, before I get started, if you found this video informative, please smash that like button. Also, subscribe for all things to finals. Thanks, you guys are awesome. Let's start with the heavy 50 caliber akimbo handguns, or should I say, hand cannons. Because when you start hitting with these things, oh my god, it feels so satisfying. From the way they fire to how they reload, I felt like I was in a 90s action movie. Having shrapnel fly by my face as I was unloading both mags into my opponent was simply amazing. You know, the biggest fear I had in Season 4, especially for heavy, was not whether or not the strength of the class would get adjusted, but whether it was going to be fun to play or become a boring team comp necessity. Again, that's my opinion, of course. I know others might not have the same view, and that's perfectly fine. With this addition though, as well as other additions I'll mention in later videos, I think a lot of people are going to actually jump at the chance to play heavy again. Because not only do you look cool, you feel cool when you're firing this weapon. From the footage I collected, it appears the akimbo has damage drop off past 30 meters. It can kill a light with 4 body shots or 2 crits. It can kill a medium in 6 body shots or 3 crits. And kill a heavy in 8 body shots or 4 crits. As you can see, these damage numbers are nothing to scoff at, and I think this is an incredible addition to Heavy's arsenal. Now, onto my new favorite light weapon that I'm going to more than likely main in this new season. And yes, while being powerful and accessible at surface level, this is not the primary reason as to why I really like this weapon. It is because the mechanics of the weapon allows room for a skill gap, while at the same time not being overly oppressive in the meta. This mechanic is the timing, with the skill gap being created by the player's movement, how well you can dodge and evade in between those bursts to successfully land your next shot and eliminate the target. It also allows the weapon to have vulnerability in between those bursts for other weapons to counter. Essentially, the perfect high risk, high reward weapon. And I cannot begin to explain to you how satisfying it is to land those bursts and see your target explode into a bunch of coins. It's damn near addicting. I'm sure you 1887 mains know exactly what I'm talking about. By the way, just like the 1887, there is no difference in bullet spread when aiming down sights or going into hip fire, and the bullet spread remains tight and constant when sprinting or sprint strafing. It is just as compact as it is when you're crouched, allowing you to run and gun in the truest sense. Now, after observing the footage, I can see this weapon does have damage fall off that starts somewhere around 25 to 30 meters, but because the bullet spread gets wider the further out it goes, I think this compensates for any type of damage fall off. Anyhow, the true strength of this weapon doesn't lie in far range. It lies between 0 to 20 meters. Even though it does not have any crit damage multipliers, it can 2-tap a light and 3-tap both medium and heavies. This is assuming, of course, your entire burst lands. Also, this weapon perfectly complements all 3 specializations, allowing you to not be restrained and run the loadout you are comfortable with the most. Alright, now I saved the best for last, and also the most powerful. To be honest, at first this weapon didn't seem that good to me. I love the fact that they added a DMR, but movement plays a huge role in this game, no matter how much people want to simplify that. And you rarely are going to be camping in a position for an extended period of time without somebody challenging you. At some point, more often than not, you will be forced to strafe when engaging an opponent. And the problem I had with this at first is the intense reticle sway from the center when strafing. It made it so that you needed to be standing still to accurately land your shots, which I do get. It's a DMR. You're not supposed to be using it like an AR. But at the same time, it's a virtual game show, and while I appreciate realism, it definitely didn't do this weapon any favors. Here's the thing though, after I loaded up and started seeing match after match after match after match that the teams who were dominating were triple stacking mediums with this DMR, I started to pay attention and found out they were doing something that I wasn't, and that was removing the scope from the pike. And when I did, this weapon became something that even the LH1 in its prime would have nightmares about. The accuracy from close to far range when strafing went through the roof. And yes, when you're hip firing, there still is a decent amount of bullet dispersion, but within 5 meters, it didn't even matter. And any class that I was going up against, they were absolutely obliterated. From 0 to 40 meters, there did not appear to be any damage fall off. It can kill a light in 3 body shots or 2 crits. It can kill a medium in 5 body shots or 3 crits, and a heavy in 6 body shots or 4 crits. Now, my only fear in comp, just to compete, will be that this weapon will become the only choice for medium. Anyhow, regardless of how powerful it is, the feel of the weapon without the scope is pure bliss and incredibly crispy. So all in all, from the performance all the way to the animations of these new weapons, this is by far the best weapon release in any season. I hope this is going to be the new standard when it comes to the feel of a weapon. Besides the scope to the DMR, I'm going to give these 3 new weapons a solid 9 out of 10. And I know for a fact that all of you are going to have an absolute blast using them on release. So if you guys found this video informative, please smash that like button. It's a small button for you, but again, makes a massive impact on my channel. Also, subscribe for all things the finals. Peace and love, guys. I got a lot more to come. Stay tuned. And the rest of the video is just going to be footage, so you guys can have a better idea of how the guns look and feel. Other than that, though, I'll see you guys in the arena. Peace.